What's happening, high tide traders and investors? It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, and interviews. Today's Tuesday. It's January 17th. Hope you're well. And in this short video, we're going to be discussing the stock High Tide, ticker symbol HITI on the NASDAQ. Going to be going over a major bullish indicator and technical pattern on the chart that we can expect in the potential weeks and months ahead, and whether or not we could see a big move coming for the stock. Also getting a lot of questions about why this stock hasn't really been performing as well comparative to the rest of the sector, and we'll dive into some technical analysis, all that and more. But before we get to it, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. It's been a while since I did a video on High Tide. It's definitely one of my top picks. Very bullish on this for the long term. It's definitely my most favorite retail MJ stock, and I buy a lot of my products from Canna Cabana. It's probably 90% of my purchases come from Canna Cabana, which is obviously owned by High Tide. Something I wanted to bring up as well, shout out to Alicia in the Power Group private community, reminded us that we have earnings coming up here in about a couple of weeks. Want to see official confirmation from High Tide, but I believe it's tentative for January 30th. And I also checked TradingView, and it's showing January 30th as well. And this is for a period ending 10/2022, so October 2022. We're seeing here for analyst estimates, we're expecting 99.93 million, and this is in the Canadian dollar equivalent. And then the EPS is forecasted at negative 0.0733. Just a matter of time before we start to go positive, in my opinion. OGI was a bit of an indicator that we could start to see this trend emerge amongst a lot of these Canadian companies. And like a lot of cannabis CEOs are saying, the days of unprofitable LPs are numbered, and we know that High Tide isn't exactly a licensed producer, but they are big into the retail space, and I think they're going to be one of the long-term winners in the space. Something I want to just highlight here is that we're not expecting a massive jump up from last quarter revenue. If you take a look at the last 5 quarters, though, we've exceeded expectations with regards to analyst estimates. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did miss this one slightly. And like I said, we had some pretty big jumps there in the last few months. And we know that Canadian sales, rec sales are sort of stagnant, and that could hurt the forecast. So wouldn't be surprised if we did have a miss this quarter. But like I said, 99.93 million will be the number to watch. And if we break 100 million, that'll be a huge milestone, but that's forecasted for the following quarter for period ending January 2023. So going to be a couple of interesting quarters ahead, in my opinion, but we'll dive into some technical analysis. And the Golden Cross, I did want to highlight that. A lot of names are starting to see Golden Crosses line up in the MJ space after having their Death Crosses back in the summer of 2021. So, for example, the Death Cross is when the 50-day moving average is above the longer-term moving average, the 200-day. When the 50 is above the 200 and they cross, that's a Death Cross. And you can see here it crossed when the price was at around $6, $7, and then it dropped all the way down to about $1.30 on the NASDAQ, so the USD equivalent. So, major sell signal and bearish indicator and chart pattern and technical pattern. And then now we're seeing the flip side, where we could see a golden cross with the 50-day below the longer term moving average, the 200-day. And if the 50 is below and crosses at 200, we refer to that as a golden cross. Look what happened the last time that happened. Price was at around $1.80, $1.90, and then went all the way up to about $13, right? So if we see something similar, we could be due for a massive move. And again, seeing tons of people saying, oh, this didn't age well. Well, technical analysis, these chart patterns, they don't mean that we're going to the moon tomorrow, right? This could take multiple weeks, could take multiple months. Even after we see the bull cross, it could take a couple of weeks, couple of months before we actually see that upside potential, right? So just because the technical pattern happens doesn't mean we are expecting upside right away. It could take a few weeks, could take a few months, right? This is just a leading indicator that we could potentially see a big move coming. But in terms of technical analysis on the daily time frame, we are stuck in an equilibrium. An equilibrium just means a tightening range. So we have the low, we have the high, higher low, lower high, higher low, and we're looking for direction on which way this is going to break down. So if we do lose support, we will anticipate the daily downtrend continuation. And if we break resistance here, so key resistance is going to be 158 USD. If we break 158, we'll be back into a daily uptrend. At that point, we'll zoom out to the weekly time frame, and then we'll look to confirm a weekly uptrend as well. At the moment, we are at risk of a weekly bear flag. And if we just take a measured move here of the weekly bear flag, I believe it was targeting $1. And this is lining up. If you recall a video I did not too long ago, we also had another weekly bear flag here with the high to the low, lower high. Anything under 311 was a potential weekly bear flag. We confirmed it. We had support at 173. Once we lost 173, we confirmed the weekly bear flag, and then the measured move target was targeting $1 USD. We came very close. We hit, like I said, about $1.30, so we came within about 22% of that target, and now we're seeing a monthly bear flag. So this is something to be watching as well. And in order to confirm the monthly bear flag, we need to lose support there at 130. So if we lose 130, monthly bear flag confirmed, and anything under 311 is a monthly bear flag. I don't think this is the most likely scenario, in my opinion. We do have a nice basis support here. You can see here we wicked below it, but we never actually closed a candle below the low there at 150. Actually, here we closed at 133, 150. 150, so 150 acting as a nice base of support, but I'd be concerned if we were to close a monthly candle below 133. If that were to occur, then I do think that this monthly bear flag target of about 75 cents could hit. We have the all-time low there at 65 cents, so stranger things have happened. I'm just looking at what the charts are saying. I wish we were going to, $10 or $15 tomorrow, but we have to be realistic, and more than likely what it would take for this to hit those ranges would be more than likely the S&P 500 seeing a massive drop, right? If we were to see a 5, 10, maybe even 15% drop, the more extreme the broader market gets, the more extreme of a pullback we would have in high tide or say the MJ sector as a whole, right? So that's a potential. I don't think it's the most likely scenario though. And like I said, we haven't closed a candle below $1.33. So if we close a monthly candle below $1.33, I would say we're more than likely heading to that dollar target, which is our weekly bear flag. And then if we lose $1, look for 75 cents as the potential floor for bottom fishing opportunity. Like I said, which is the monthly bear flag target. But at the moment, we'll just stick with the daily time frame. We'll look to get back into a daily uptrend. Like I said, if we can break resistance there at 158, we'll be back into a daily uptrend. Then at that point, we zoom out to the weekly time frame. We look for the weekly bounce to get underway. We look to confirm a weekly uptrend. And then we still need to confirm a monthly uptrend. Right now, we have 2 monthly inside bars that are in a row. So we have key support there at 138, key support at 190. If we break 138, we start monthly consolidation, and we have barely no room for a higher low to form, right? So what bulls want to see is a break of 190 resistance, continue the monthly bounce, and then form enough room as possible to allow for that higher low to form and higher high, because we know that the bear market isn't going to be officially over. We can't be confident in saying that this is the bottom until we confirm monthly uptrends, not just on high tide, but across the whole sector, right? And another thing I want to mention here as well is if we close a weekly candle over EMA 26, you can see here it's been a brick wall for the last year, better part of a year. We got above it here, but then we ended up seeing a pretty bearish reversal candle with a large upper wick. So if we can close a weekly candle over EMA 26, that will be bullish, and that's at 175. And that would be the first time, like I said, in a better part of a year. And we also have the 10-week moving average there at 160. We did have a bear cross of the stochastic, but it's looking to cross bullish. So if we can get the stochastic bullish again, and then a weekly candle close, ultimately, what I would like to see by the end of this week is a close over 170. That would put us over the 10-week moving average. That would put us, 175. So if we see a weekly candle close over 175, I think we could easily be heading up to that 223. After 223, next major resistance, we're looking at around 287. So if we can get over 175 this weekly candle close, that would be huge in my opinion. But a lot of people are asking, how come high tide isn't seeing, we're seeing pretty big moves across the space. For example, Hexo over the last 3 weeks from the lows there ran about 80%. And a lot of people are saying, how come high tide isn't participating? Well, the sector moves together, but it doesn't move together down to the second, the minute, the day, the week. But on the monthly time frame, if you zoom out, when in doubt, just keep zooming out, right? And look, high tide had a similar move, right? Off of the lows there to the high, it went about 70%, right? So it already had its move, and now we're starting to see other names play catch up as well, right? And there was catalysts that had to do with Hexo's move and things like that. But like I said, High Tide is my favorite retailer. Hexo is my favorite producer. I buy all my Hexo products from Canna Cabana, aka High Tide, and very bullish on the two. But like I said, the reason why is we're seeing High Tide consolidate is because we already had a huge move, right? 70%. And now from that high to the low here, we're down about 38%, right? So it's not uncommon to see a 70% move with no support established and then drop 20, 30, maybe even 40%, right? And that's exactly what we're seeing here. So again, I think that's attributed to, we're going to see this continue, right? This trend will continue. We'll see big moves in one stock. Maybe the next few weeks we'll see another couple stocks move, and then eventually everything will start moving together. But right now, we're just starting to see, taking turns essentially. But High Tide already had its big move, right? And then we have no nearby resistance there until 238, which is the 50 weekly moving average. So the high there at 223 and then 238, that's going to be a very strong resistance zone in my opinion. And then, like I said, we're looking at this major technical pattern, bullish pattern, as the golden cross, as we haven't seen a golden cross since back here in October of 2020. Then we had the death cross back in September of 2021. And now we're looking for a potential golden cross and the bear market to be over, and look to get confirmation that we're starting a new potential multi-year bull market. So going to end it there. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. If you're buying, I'm actually adding high tide. I've got quite a bit of room still left in my TFSA and dry powder. Still got a 6-figure cash position, and I'm going to be continue to accumulate these great undervalued companies in the MJ space at these rock bottom prices as we look to the biggest catalyst for a lifetime, which will be legalization in the US. Personally, I'm in this for the long haul. I don't care about what happens next week, next month. I don't plan on selling anytime soon. And like I said, I'll just continue to accumulate and take advantage of these rock bottom prices. But going to end it there, thanks again for joining us on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Rob with Pal Group. Hope you have a great night. Please like the video, share it with anybody that might find value, and we'll see you again on the next update.